Hey guys, what's going on and welcome to today's video for Legends of Runeterra. Today we got more cards that have been revealed that we're going to be going over. If you are a fan of Demacia, you're probably going to like these cards. If you're not a fan of Demacia, I'm sorry. But yeah, we got today Jarvan the Fourth, and we also got a bunch of other Demacia cards. Lots of elite synergy. So, let's go and take a look at those cards, shall we? Okay, here we go. Lots of stuff to unpack here. So let's start off with Jarvan himself. Jarvan is a 6 mana 5/3. He's also an elite for elite synergies. He has barrier, and when you attack, pay my cost to summon me, challenging the strongest enemy. And to level him up, allies have to survive 4+ strikes from enemy blockers. And then leveled up Jarvan is a 6 mana 6/4, still has barrier. And then when you attack, pay my cost to summon me, etc., etc. Same thing as before. Except now he says at the start of the round, create a fleeting cataclysm in hand. And when he challenges an enemy, he gets barrier for the round. And fleeting cataclysm, or cataclysm in general, is his champion spell, which is a 3 mana slow spell, which says an ally starts a free attack, challenging an enemy. There's a lot to unpack here. Overall, I'd say Jarvan's very good, but he has to be very good. He's a 6 mana champion. So I feel like it's going to be a fairly tough. It's going to be fairly tough to evaluate the guy because exactly what kind of expensive champions are played. Many champions that are played that are above, I'd say, that are 6 or more mana are usually game-winning champions. Jarvan, I don't see as a game-winning champ. I see him as the top end of a elite deck. But I don't think he's the reason you're winning. I think he's just the top end. He's just like, he's going to push you ahead and he's going to push you into the late game and really make it so your opponent can't come back from there. Maybe I guess that is game winning if you would define it that way. Also, looking at the wording of his level up condition, I believe it means he doesn't have to be on the field to level up. He doesn't say like, I have seen allies or something. It just says allies have survived 4+ strikes. So I think that's good if I'm correct in that he doesn't have to be on the field to level up. He can be in your deck like other champions. I do think he's going to be good though. Being able to, I don't know how to describe it well, but like open attack and summon a unit at burst speed basically without passing priority has always been good. I think it's called Claws of the Dragon, the 3/2 in Ionia that can be summoned after you play 2 spells in the round. And Risen Mist from Shadow Isles have shown some decent success in the game. So Jarvan also, I think, will be played purely because of that reason. You can attack and you can open attack with whatever you've done the previous 5 turns, if you have 6 mana as well, of course, to summon Jarvan. And he will most likely, especially if you play him on curve, he will most likely kill whatever he's challenging and survive. Of course, he does have very low health. I will say that. That's the biggest worry I have for Jarvan is his health is really low. So I don't know about that. What I'm worried about is you do that play where you open attack on turn 6, Jarvan comes out and he challenges whatever the strongest enemy unit is. And then your opponent plays a ping, like a Vile Feast or a, I don't know, even a Withering Wail. Or they could also just play Hush, of course. Sure, you're trading 2 for 2. You're trading Jarvan. Actually, you're technically trading a 2 for 1. You're getting an advantage there. Never mind, my bad. You're trading Jarvan for, most likely you're trading Jarvan for their strongest unit. And whatever method they're using to remove his barrier. So I guess that could be good in theory, but you want Jarvan to survive the combat, obviously. Still, though, I think there's a lot of stuff going on here with Jarvan. And I think he brings just enough value and just enough speed to the game, if that makes sense, to actually be playable. Looks really good with Misfortune, of course. Like, Scouts really likes this guy. You open your turn up with a scout attack, bringing out Jarvan. Then you get another attack in. and whatever. So maybe some kind of like scout elite deck will show up. I don't know. It really comes down to like, is the payoff for elites good enough? And we got more elite payoff here as well that we're going to go over. So maybe this will be the set to give us enough elite synergy to actually want to play, well, elite synergy. Maybe we'll see people start playing Cytheria again in Scouts over, say, Jagged Butcher or something. And of course, there's always Bannerman too, as well, of course. But haven't seen Bannerman in a while. But yeah, this guy, I feel like I'm gonna be really annoyed by Jarvan because I really am annoyed by multiple attacks. It's very hard as a defensive player. And Cataclysm's a pretty okay spell. Slow speed does hurt it a bit, but it's still really good, especially, of course, with the whole leveled up Jarvan getting barrier if he challenges something, and this basically gives Jarvan his barrier. Or his challenger, in other words. Now then, I think that's enough about Jarvan. He's a really good card. It's gonna be just a little bit difficult, I feel, to maximize his potential. But I feel like the way we'll see him at first is in Scouts with Misfortune instead of Quinn. Unless you want to go and try to play Bannerman. In which case you might play like Jarvan Quinn, I guess. You could still play Misfortune, I guess, too. Anyway, enough about him. Let's go look at the other cards. First off, we got Penitent Squire. Penitent Squire is a 1-mana 2/2, already great stats for the cost. Not an elite, but when the Penitent Squire is summoned, if you behold an elite, and if you're playing a deck with Penitent Squire, you're most likely playing elites. Create a Tattered Banner in hand. Tattered Banner is a 1-mana burst spell that says the next time you summon an ally this round, grant it Challenger. This is a great spell. And a great card. Elites, if you're playing elites, I don't know exactly how many. Someone else has probably already done the math by the time I upload this video, but to have an elite on turn 1, I don't think is that big of an ask, in all honesty. Especially if you're playing Jarvan. I feel like if you're playing Penitent Squire, you're playing Jarvan because the synergy with Jarvan and Tattered Banner is really nice. So maybe because of Penitent Squire, we can do Bannerman stuff, and our other 1-drop will be Cytheria, who's also an elite, so you can summon Penitent Squire first. Or Cytheria first, I guess, because Behold works on, Behold looks at the field as well. So I think this card's great. This card is insanely good, in my opinion. 1-mana 2/2s are great. They block so well. They attack really well. They usually trade up. You're usually happy enough if your 1-drop can just kill something and get a 1-for-1. And this is not even a 1-for-1 because you're sort of getting a card for this 1-drop. And it's not even like, it's like, a gem or something like, I don't know, a fragment from Riven or something. This is a great card. This card is good enough that I would count it as a whole card. Not like I count gems as like, I don't know, like a quarter card or a third of a card or whatever. But yeah, Tattered Banner is just so good. You play this card, you play Tattered Banner, you play whatever unit that's big that you want to have a challenger, probably Jarvan in all honesty. If you're not doing the whole attack in to make him summon himself, basically. And then win the game. This really feels like it's these cards really feel like they're trying to go for that Demacia, go wide on the board, snowball kind of synergy. Could we have some more Demacia control, though, please, Rito? Now, next up. I don't know about this card. This one's really tough for me to evaluate. We have Battlefield Prowess. I think it's a bad card, in all honesty. 1-mana slow spell. Grant an ally +1/+1. This card is kind of already in the game. Radiant Strike is this card, except Battlefield Prowess is permanent. The buff is for the rest of the game, as long as that unit lives, of course. Radiant Strike, on the other hand, is only for the round. Now, the main difference is, as well, besides the temporary or versus permanence, is Radiant Strike is a burst speed spell. Radiant Strike has seen some play. usually as a way to usually basically as a combat trick, usually as a way to win combats and keep your thing alive, or keep your unit alive against a damage based removal like Mystic Shot or something. And that's why I think Battlefield Prowess will not see you play. The biggest reason is it's not a bad card, don't get me wrong. 1 mana for +1/+1 is okay. The biggest problem I think with Battlefield Prowess is it is a card. And by that I mean, do you really want to waste 1 or even 3 spots in your deck with Battlefield Prowess, a very low impact card that you can't even really use to save a unit or use it to win combat? Sure, there's a little bit of synergy with challengers and barriers, I guess, but I I just don't see it being worth it. I'd rather play Radiant Strike, and before I even play Radiant Strike, there's other cards like Sharp Sight and Ranger's Resolve for the small combat tricks. So I really don't see Battlefield Prowess being played at all. The only way I can see this card being played is if there are more mechanics revealed either in the set or in the future, and those kind of effects or abilities, keywords, whatever, say things like, oh, if you have like, I don't know, a 4+ power unit, or if you target a friendly unit with a spell, do a thing. Battlefield Prowess then is kind of good because it's a cheap way to grow units. It's a cheap way to target units with spells, and it does something that's permanent for the rest of the game. But for now, though, I'm not seeing it. Imagine in the future there's like a mechanic that basically says it's kind of like Jay Medarda, in other words, is what I'm trying to say, but make that as a mechanic. Target the unit and then draw a spell if it's your friendly unit, if you get what I'm saying here. Maybe then Battlefield Prowess will see play. But even then, at that point, it's like you have gems as well. I don't know. I'm saying a lot here to basically say this card is bad, in my opinion. But next up, we got in my opinion, a good card. 2 mana, 3/2, Honored Lord. The first time I challenge an enemy, give me barrier this round. Not amazing, not like crazy busted or broken, but still, I like it. First off, it's also an elite, so I don't think I mentioned that, but good synergy with Penitent Squire. You'll probably keep Honored Lord in your hand against pretty much every matchup if you're playing this card. Even if you don't get the whole challenge and barrier stuff off, it's still a 2 mana 3/2, and 2 mana 3/2s are very playable on their own, as evidenced by things like Chempunk Pickpocket, who almost never gets to get his Nexus Strike go off, but he's still played for his stats. And you'd rather have 2 mana 3/2s over 2 mana 2/3s because of fearsome aggro, and fearsome whatever is very scary. Sure, a 2/3 is better defensively against non-fearsome aggro, but it really depends. And I just like the card too. So, I mean, like, if you can also get the challenger thing to go off and give barrier and get a nice little bit of value, of course, it's great. Most of the time, it's going to be a 2 mana 3/2 you're playing for elite synergies, though. I don't know of any other. I think the only other 2 mana elite, though, I think we do have another one. I can't remember the name. It's the 2 mana 2/2 with Tough. I think that card's an elite. But that card is bad and no one plays it. Next up, though, we have Golden Aegis. I've seen a lot of decisiveness or divisiveness, division? Whatever. I've seen a lot of people arguing about this card. And some people say this card is nuts, and other people are saying this card's overrated. Not bad, but overrated. I think this card is good, but I don't know just how good this card is. A lot of people are saying this nuts English is hard. Let me restart that sentence. A lot of people are saying this card is nuts because this card is Relentless Pursuit, the 3 mana rally card, for 1 extra mana. But for that extra 1 mana, you're giving an ally barrier this round. So Fiora with barrier is nice. Seems pretty good, right? So the biggest issue is we have seen what happens when a spell goes from being able to be cast with only spell mana to needing spell mana plus a little bit more. You can't really just like flood the board as well. It's a little bit tougher on summoning units. So really it's going to come down to how much value is that barrier giving. So will this card replace Relentless Pursuit in, say, Shenfiora? Shenfiora plays 1 to 2 Relentless Pursuits at times, sometimes even 3. 3 is a little too much in my opinion, but sometimes. I honestly think it will. I think you would play Golden Aegis in a deck that wants Relentless Pursuits that also plays Challengers. Outside of Challenger decks though that still want Relentless Pursuit, I think you still play Relentless Pursuit, say like Lucian decks. Like I don't know, a Lucian Hecarim deck. We don't see those decks too much anymore, but you still see them every now and again, and sometimes they run 1 or 2 Relentless Pursuits. I think that deck would prefer Relentless Pursuit, especially because then they could go like turn 6 Hecarim and then play Relentless Pursuit as well. So it's gonna be a little tough. I do think this card is playable though. I think this card is good enough, and there is really good synergy with it, of course. Now, next up, Gallant Rider, 4 mana 4/4, also an elite. The first time I challenge an enemy, transform me into Vanguard Cavalry. Vanguard Cavalry is the 5 mana 5/5 with tough that I believe is also an elite. I have no idea how to evaluate this card, because neither this card by itself is good, neither is Vanguard Cavalry. I assume when you transform this card into Vanguard Cavalry, it becomes a 5/5. It's not going to be missing any health if this guy is taking damage. So the dream, obviously, is somehow have this guy go to 1 health, be a 4/1, and then give him Challenger or give something vulnerable somehow. Have this guy turn into a 5/5, a Vanguard Cavalry, if you will, and then go from there. That's the dream. That will never happen. Almost never, really. That's so rare. But I really just don't know. I guess the only way I can see this being played is if you really, really need a 4-drop in Scouts and you don't want to go to another region because you're trying to play like Bannermen or something. Because in my opinion, I'd rather play like Island Navigator in Bilgewater, in all honesty, if I'm playing Scouts, because, you know, you're playing Misfortune, most likely. So that's the only way I can really see this card getting played. Maybe not though. Like because I was gonna say, I also feel like these cards that say like the first time I challenge, etc., these kind of cards like the Honored Lord and the Gallant Rider, I think they're very dependent on how easy it is to give them Challenger or obviously give something vulnerable. And I just remembered Penitent Squire's Tattered Banner does that. It gives Challenger, and it doesn't even say grant it Challenger for the round. It just says grant it Challenger. So that Challenger is permanent, and Vanguard Cavalry with Challenger, like when the Gallant Rider transforms into Vanguard Cavalry, is pretty good. Now, the question I have is when the Vanguard or Gallant Rider transforms into Vanguard Cavalry, is it a complete transformation, or will it keep buffs that it had before? In other words, if you Tattered Bannered Gallant Rider, will the Vanguard Cavalry still have its Challenger? I want to say no, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did. So, who knows? I hope it does. Because this card, then I can see this card actually seeing a little bit of play, in all honesty. Also, I would like, for this kind of deck, I would like more synergy for a mostly Demacia deck, other than Bannerman, of course. And now, the last card. We got King Jarvan III, Jarvan IV's father. 7 mana, 3/6. Elite. Very small stats for the cost, so he's going to need to do a lot of stuff for to make up for that. That his stats are worth a 4 mana card, really. So he is also tough, so that's a good start. When I'm summoned, draw Jarvan 4. That is nuts, in my opinion. We have seen how good quote-unquote tutors are, boats, if you will. And he has more abilities as well. If Jarvan the 4th, obviously, is already in play, instead, give allies Challenger and Scout this round. Now, you might say, is that better than just drawing another Jarvan the 4th? I'd say yes, because, and my reasoning is, Cataclysm, Jarvan's champ spell, is good, but it's not like a Ravenous Flaw from Swain when if you play a second Leviathan and you already have a Swain on board, obviously. But yes, we have seen how good these kind of cards are thanks to Leviathan from Swain, or with Swain. Now, granted, that's also because there's a little bit of a nice synergy there, a sort of a soft lock between Leviathan and a leveled up Swain. And yes, there is synergy with a Jarvan on the board and a Jarvan the 4th and a King Jarvan as well, but it's not as permanent, it's not as ongoing as Leviathan and Swain. So I really don't know how to evaluate King Jarvan the 3rd, because he does exactly what you look for from a expensive card. And that is he ends the game, really. Or at least tries to end the game. And then he has his backup of, if you're not doing so well because you haven't drawn Jarvan the 4th, you know, he draws him for you. And again, Jarvan the 4th's ability to be summoned when you attack, if you have 6 mana, in other words, is pretty good too. So it's nice, but I don't know. Fairly okay defensive body thanks to tough and his high health of 6, but I don't know. I think he'll play at the very least 2 of these in a Jarvan deck. 2 King Jarvans in a Jarvan the 4th deck. But more than that, I don't know. Because let's say you play 3 Jarvan the 4ths and 3 King Jarvans. That's already 6 cards that cost more than 6 mana. That's a lot. And then you're probably going to play other things too, like maybe a Cythria or something. These kind of decks do not want to play too many things that cost more than 6 mana. And Cythria is kind of the queen, I guess, if you will, for that kind of category of the 6 mana game-ending Demacia card. Sure, there's Bright Steel Formation too, I guess, but that's 9 mana. That's even more expensive. Anyway, though, all in all, I know a lot of people are going to be happy about these cards. A lot of people like elites. A lot of people always try to make elites happen. Those people probably ecstatic with these cards. Me, not so much. I'm not a big elite fan, but I do like Demacia every now and again. It's a little bit of a guilty pleasure I like to play now and again, but show me Ionia. Show me some good Ionia cards is what I'm asking here, Rito. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you have any other ideas for Jarvan the 4th, I would love to hear them. All I really have is either Scouts or a Bannerman deck. Maybe even like just combine the two and do Scouts and Bannerman. It's been done before. But that's really my only idea for Jarvan. I guess you can also do like Taric Golden Ages. Taric Golden Ages is kind of cute. But then you're playing Taric, of course. But yeah, that's going to be it. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you guys did like the video, or if you like the video in general, of course, I'd love to hear from you with a comment down below, or of course, just a like for the video as well. Really helps me out and all. If you guys want to keep up with the Runeterra content as well, you can always subscribe to the channel. And if you want to catch me playing some Legends of Runeterra, you can always go and check me out at my Twitch account, twitch.tv/Senaton. I stream there pretty much every single day, playing all kinds of stuff, all kinds of decks. Anyway, though, with that all said and done, thank you all again once more for watching the video. And until I see you guys in the next one, bye!